Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 10th regular meeting of the Willits City Council. We did have a closed session at 6 o'clock tonight, and we ended the closed session with direction given to staff, but we're going to start our meeting. I really appreciate you being here. I know that you'd rather be Christmas shopping or putting up lights or something like that. We appreciate you being here. We're very honored. We have a former mayor that is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Sabrina, thank you for being here. If you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Burton,
I am right here.
Gonzalez,
Present.
Stransky,
Yes.
Alanis,
Yes.
Almond.
Here.
The City Council welcomes input from the audience. If there is a matter of business on the agenda that you are interested in, you may address the council when this matter is considered. If you wish to speak on a matter that is not on the agenda, you may do so at this time. In order for everyone to be heard, please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person. The Brown Act regulations do not allow action to be taken on audience comments in which the subject is not listed on the agenda.
Okay, so at this point, there's going to be two parts. If there's anybody who would like to talk on any agenda item, or any non-agenda item, you're welcome to come up in here. However, your time is valuable. If there's an agenda item that you would like to talk on, but you have some reason you need to get the heck out of here, we understand that. You're going to be welcome to talk on that. So let me start by asking, is there anybody who would like to speak on any non-agenda item? You're welcome to come up and just say us who you are. And Sabrina, fine job on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi, good evening. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
I'm here, I'm Sabrina Rodriguez, and I'm here with two requests as a business owner. I know that often it's hard to try and figure out how you can support businesses in the community, but there are two ways that would be really helpful. Recently, there was the sign that's sitting out front that was sitting in front of my business for 5 days because it was a holiday weekend. It was there the day before the holiday.
What sign?
The flashing sign right out here, but it was right outside the front door of my business.
Okay.
And I know it seems like it's something small, but when you're a small business, it's things like that that can significantly impact your coming and going for your customers for the day. So if you could please direct staff to not place it directly in front of a business door. And if it's going to be in a neighborhood for an extended period of time, whether it be that or some other equipment of the city's, if you could put it at nearby city property or at least notify the business owner of what's going to take place, that would be super helpful.
Communication is important, and so
Communication is really
I can't promise you it won't happen again, but I can promise you that we can talk to staff.
The first two times I was pretty patient, and then this last time was the third time, and it really did impact sales. So that's my first request as a business owner, and I know that other business owners have expressed this in the past as well. The second one is in relation to the city's grease inspection. So recently the city got certified for grease inspections. Great.
Grease? You're saying grease?
Grease trap inspections. So business owners have to have a grease trap to collect any of the grease that goes before it goes down the sink so that it doesn't make its way to the sewer plant. Great thing. Definitely support that. Business owners are required to have their grease trap cleaned professionally. An example would be my business has my grease trap cleaned twice a year, but then on top of that, the city comes out and does their own inspections. I had an inspection recently, and I've talked to other business owners, but I was told that there would be quarterly unannounced inspections for grease traps. So when the health department came around, I asked the health inspector, I said, I'm going to get unannounced quarterly grease trap inspections. Does that feel like I'm getting some kind of special treatment? And he says it certainly sounds special because I don't understand why you would get somebody who's producing a low amount of grease get a quarterly inspection, but I don't know what the city of Willits' code is. And I said, I don't know either because the city recently has updated that. So I'd like to know what the code is, how often it is for. But I'd also like to propose that instead of coming through the front of the restaurant with a nasty grease thing during lunch rush, which is not healthy for anybody in my opinion, there are other ways of maybe meeting the standards. So if I'm getting a grease trap cleaned twice a year, allow me to simply present my certificate to City Hall demonstrating that I have a clean grease trap and that it's being professionally maintained. There's other ways of certifying this instead of disturbing business. So I just want you to take that back to city manager and staff and explore other opportunities that may potentially keep the sewer plant running efficiently, businesses happy, and meet your mandates. So those are my 2 asks today, and that's it.
Thank you. I'm going to respond with this, saying I don't think anybody up at this counter is a grease trap expert, and I truly trust our city employees as grease trap experts. But I think that your suggestions are well played, and I will discuss that with them. I don't want to say don't check the grease trap. I'm going to say if somebody wants to voluntarily give us their grease trap inspections twice a year, maybe we could look elsewhere. So that's a very good recommendation.
Just look for business-friendly ways to meet your mandates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to have a non-agenda item to comment? Yes, sir. Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Curtis. I'm the chief plant operator for the wastewater plant, and I'd like to comment on Sabrina's comments about the grease trap and fog inspections.
Okay.
We're doing them quarterly, and it's every business in town. It's not just her. She's not being picked on, to keep track of what's being done and not done. Twice a year is not enough, depending on the size of the grease trap. And in the beginning, we may do more inspections to see how fast the grease trap fills up, so we can give recommendations on how often it needs to be cleaned. It's not something that just gets done once in a while. It's stuff that needs to be done on a regular basis, and sometimes depends on the size of the trap or how many plates of food you serve is how fast it's going to fill up. So it's not, you're not being picked on, Sabrina.
And you are a grease trap expert. I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I know.
All right, is there anybody else who would like to talk about a non-agenda item? Okay, is there anybody who would like to talk about an agendized item, but you have to get out of here? All right, we're moving on. Thank you. The police or the fire chief is not here, so we're not going to have a. He's here. Oh, he's here?
Yep.
Well, there he is.
It's not fire chief.
Fire chief.
The fire chief is not available, so he'll be doing at the next regular city council meeting.
Next month. Okay. Thanks, Tony.
Can I ask Tony, are we still presenting the California Fire Code tonight as
Yes,
well?
Matt's here to do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now we're moving on to John Haschak, our 3rd District Supervisor. Thanks, John. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good evening, Board and Mayor Allman. So, let's see. First of all, there's going to be a Hazmobile visit to Willits on April 3rd and 4th. You know, people can always take their stuff to Ukiah, but this is the first time in quite a while that it's coming to Willits, so good. That's good news. So it's
April
going to
3rd and 4th
at the transfer station, not down here,
okay.
but at the transfer station.
Thank you.
Okay. Like the mayor knows that the psychiatric hospital facility should be completed and open to take care of clients in the spring of 2026. We're hoping that's sooner than later. The new mental health wing of the jail will be completed in the next month or so. Okay. There will be a health summit on January 14th in the afternoon during the Board of Supervisor meeting. We had one in September, on September 10th, if anyone wants to go back and look at that. But that was when we were talking about the implications for the HR1 and how it will impact the counties, social services, public health, and also the different healthcare providers, such as the hospitals and the clinics. And so this is a follow-up conversation since we will know more about some of those impacts and how they will impact us all. So that's on January 14th in Ukiah, but you can always Zoom it. And then I appreciate the collaboration of the city of Willits to make sure we have an emergency access route for the Furco Road and going near Ells Field. And so really appreciate your Public Works Department and everyone who's collaborated on that. Brook Trails and CAL FIRE and the county. So we're trying to make sure that that is open in case it's needed in an emergency. And the formal second access route off of Sherwood Road has environmental and feasibility studies going on for 2 potential routes. So that will also impact Willits and Sherwood Road, and certainly the portion of Sherwood Road that gets a lot of use right now that the city owns. And then there's a talk with the supervisor tomorrow morning, 9:30 at the Brick House, if anyone's interested in just coming and talking about issues in depth.
Okay, any questions from the council?
Yeah, roughly what are the 2 routes being considered now?
One is Primrose and heading out east, going out to 101 and connecting kind of near the new Northern Exchange.
Cul-de-sac, or the intersection, or the cul-de-sac?
Yeah, near the intersection. And then the other is the Furco Road, which comes out at the Apache Mill.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Up Creek isn't in the picture anymore?
No,
Really?
yeah. Right.
Any other questions for the supervisor? Is there any public comment on Supervisor Haschak's report? John, thank you very much.
Well, happy holidays.
Same to you. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. You have long days. You don't have to stick around, John. You're welcome to, but you don't have to. All right. With no public comment, we're going to, we have an enactment of ordinances, and we're going to start with the food truck ordinance that we've been talking about for 9 months. This is a discussion and request for adoption of an amendment to Willits Municipal Code Title 17 zoning, revising Chapter 17.66 supplemental provisions and adding Chapter 17.87 mobile vendors to establish regulations for mobile and sidewalk vending. And Swetha is our senior city planner is going to be the presenter. Thank you very much.
And I am so sorry
Because you
to
have,
inform you that I have a
you can step
conflict
out.
on this.
All right.
Need
So
to-
you have a food truck on your property?
I do.
That's your conflict. You might want to come this way. Unless you could.
I'll make it.
Got it? Okay. All right, Swetha, have there been any changes or public comment since our last meeting?
Yes, a few changes and one, just a clarification question, which I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Can I make this full screen?
Display settings, I believe.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. And the council members, tonight I'll be presenting the mobile vendor and sidewalk ordinance for the second reading and also possible adoption. This includes the chapter 17.87 and updating the chapter 17.66. So the ordinance was developed over the past year with extensive outreach and community feedback. Our goal is to balance 4 things mainly: economic opportunity, public safety, accessibility, and neighborhood compatibility. After the first reading on November 12th, staff incorporated several updates based on council and also public comments. Just to have a quick recap of the scope of the ordinance, this ordinance adds to Chapter 17.87 to Title 17, which is zoning, applies to mobile vending units and also sidewalk vendors, regulates vending on public and also private property, provides operational, design, and permitting standards. Our existing mobile vending regulations date all the way back to 1929 and 1985. In the chapter 5.82 currently prohibits peddlers on main and commercial streets and within one block. And chapter 17.66 limits them to 4 non-consecutive weeks per year, which is 28 days in a year. And we are requesting for the chapter 17.66 to be amended. And this ordinance updates definitions, clarifies all the zoning questions, and also modernizes all the regulations to fit today's needs. And this also helps create a consistent, transparent standards for vendors, property owners, and also enforcement. Some key updates and definitions in zoning from our last presentation in the first reading is we added trailers to the definition of mobile vendors to reflect how vendors operate today, and we added public facilities as an allowed zoning district for mobile vending. This allows vending at places like parks or public buildings wherever appropriate, and when the ordinance refers to public facilities, it is not describing the general public property. Instead, PF is a zoning district in the city's municipal code. This zoning district includes city-owned or publicly used properties such as parks or the sports complex and any designated public spaces. So mobile vending may be allowed in PF zoned areas, but only with city review and permissions, and only when the vending activity can be safely accommodated on the site. So all the PF properties are publicly owned. They are different from public right-of-way, which are streets and sidewalks. We also added another clear exemption, which says that mobile vending units operating at any private catered events or on private property are not regulated under this particular ordinance. And we added to the sidewalk vendor operating standards that sidewalk vendors cannot sell to people in moving vehicles or cars that are illegally parked. This is directly tied to any public safety and traffic flow. And we also added another section of all the prohibited items. Vendors are prohibited from selling items that are illegal or inappropriate for street vending, including any adult materials, tobacco, cannabis, weapons, fireworks, and pharmaceuticals. This helps protect community safety and also just simplifies enforcement. And this is another chapter that we added, public safety and right-of-way protection. Vendors cannot block sidewalks, driveways, streets, bike lanes, or create any hazard for pedestrians or any vehicles. ADA access must always be maintained. Vendors cannot reduce the required clear width in public right-of-way, and these standards are kept so sidewalks are accessible and safe for everyone. Here are some of the rules and standards of SB 946. So SB 946 is a state regulation that is statewide rules for sidewalk vending. Particularly, cities cannot ban sidewalk vending but can regulate it based on health, safety, and welfare reasons. And this ordinance pretty much aligns with all the SB 946 rules by requiring permits, setting space and operating standards, and also maintaining ADA access and ensuring that all carts are non-motorized. And our ordinance completely is in alignment with the state law while also addressing any Willits specific needs. Here's a quick sketch that we made just to understand what the restrictions are when it comes to street vending. So the 18-inch from any curb edge must be maintained. That space must not be occupied by any street vendor. And the street vendor has a maximum capacity of their cart being 56 inches. And at all times, the 48-inch minimum must be maintained for all ADA access. And coming, this is a plan view. So all fire hydrants, all vending carts must maintain a 10 feet radius of a minimum of 10 feet radius from all fire hydrants. Also must maintain the 18-inch from curb edge. Must have a 5 feet minimum from crosswalks. Also a 5 feet minimum from bus stops and a 15 feet minimum from driveways. So another thing that I would like to add is earlier today we had a chat with our city attorney, Jim Lance, and in our chapter, in our section 17.87120, penalty for violations, we stated that every violation of the provision in the chapter applies to mobile vendors and sidewalk vendors. But the sidewalk vending law is regulated by the state, so that chapter we will be editing that to applying that to only mobile vendors.
I don't think I understood that last part.
I could explain it.
Okay.
There's an enforcement provision that says that any violations of this chapter are punishable as a misdemeanor. But this SC 946 says that there can be no criminal prosecutions regarding sidewalk vending.
Okay.
So we're going to make a modification to exclude sidewalk vending from misdemeanor prosecutions.
Okay. And this is more of an administrative type enforcement, not the police department, right? If someone's in violation of the food truck law, 911 doesn't work, right? We're not going to, it's going to be contacting the planning department and okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right, from the council, any questions? All right, thank you very much for the presentation. Good. Hopefully we're going to get this past the finish mark tonight. To the public, is there anybody who would like to comment on the food vendor? Come on up to the podium. You're welcome. Come on up.
I just have a question.
Well, come on up. Sorry. We have answers. Thank you for being here.
I just would like to know if this will have any impact on the farmer's market when it takes place in the park.
That's a fair question, and the answer is? No. All right, thank you for clarifying that. Anybody else have questions regarding the sidewalk vendors food truck ordinance? Really and truly, we've been on this for 6 months. There's got to be some questions. Helen?
Helen Sims. I know we've been on it for a matter of months, but what would really help me is some sort of a map that would show where a food truck or a vendor could be.
Okay, so they can't be on the street. They can't be on public property. They can be on private property with written permission in their possession. And that's, for the most part, that's it.
No street in town.
At this point, no.
Okay.
But please remember, this conversation was started in 2015.
No, I understand.
And so now we're trying to take care of it, and I expect to address it next year, calendar year, with any issues that we have.
And I'm assuming that the kind of exceptions that have been made, for instance, all of them that were parked here in this parking lot during an event, that's different.
So the exception, that is a special exception, yes, like during the car show and things like that.
You're right.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Bear, come on up. Thank you for being here.
Supposed to be here. I'm sorry being back there. I had a little trouble hearing, but I read the new ordinance, which is slightly changed from the one that we were at the last meeting, in that they don't allow food trucks at a public right-of-way, which is defined, as I read it, as any area owned or maintained by the city. But then in the new ordinance, or the change, if I read it right, is that it will be allowed on public facilities.
On special occasions.
I didn't see the special occasions. I missed that part of it.
Can we hit that?
But I didn't see a definition for what public facilities are, or how they're different than a public right-of-way.
Thank you. All right, Sweetha.
So it'd be nice to understand that personally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can answer that. So when we added public facilities is a zone that were included in the ordinance, where in all the zones that we permit as of now. So, which is general mixed use, commercial, so public facilities is one of the zones.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that slower, please.
Oh, yeah, so public facilities is the zone that we added. So public right-of-way does not come under the public facilities zone. And public right-of-way is streets and crosswalks.
Okay.
So we do not still permit mobile vendors on streets, but we permit them on public facilities zones.
Such as this parking lot.
Yes.
Okay. What would be another example of that?
The sports complex.
The sports complex down here. Okay. All right, that's fair.
Again, with all the permits and after reviewing all the permits and with the city's permission.
Except during Frontier Days.
Correct.
Right, okay. Bear, does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Come on up. Thank you for being here. And congratulations on a great opening, ribbon cutting Sunday.
Yes. Hi, well, my name is Maria Fierro, and new owner of the new store, Hallows Market. We want to introduce or start next year probably with the Hallows food truck. And well, my question right now is about the hours. I heard it's gonna be.
Your what is an hour?
Like, so what time we can operate late at night?
Do they end at 9 p.m.?
Correct.
9 p.m.
8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay, and there's no.
Are there exceptions to that?
Yeah.
If you're part of a special event that's been authorized to go beyond that.
Because our idea was to start maybe.
Catered? Correct. If it falls under one of the exemptions, sorry. And Sweeta could answer these too. But yeah, if it falls under a special exemption like catering a private party, that would also be exempt from that operating standard.
Okay, it was just because our idea was really for summertime, is start and only for a couple days a week or 3 weeks. It was, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 8 to 12.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. to 12 a.m.
On your?
The Napa parking auto parking space. And which Kathy, I think, was okay with it. So I just wanted to find out about that.
That's a fair question.
If it's possible, if it's not possible, just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because we have the other two taquerias, Taqueria Hallows and Taqueria Maria, and there's a lot of other businesses around. We don't want to interfere with anybody.
I get it.
So it's not that we wanted to do it the whole week, maybe 3 days a week, or if there's only going to be allowed till 9 p.m., we need more days a week and start maybe from 3 to 9.
That's a fair question, and and we're certainly respectful of property rights and property ownership, and Kathy owns that property. I can just speak out loud to the council. I would be amenable to say that if the property owner would allow it to go till midnight, then that would work for me, unless there's an issue. And if there's an issue that comes up, let's say there's a loud band or the neighbors are complaining, then the council will address it and say, we're going to change this ordinance.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's fair enough. And because I also talked to Kathy. I don't know how the schedule's going to go with the barbecue. You know what, they don't open every day a week, and I don't want to interfere with their habits.
Okay, right, okay.
So I wanted to respect the days are open. We're not going to be open those days, and just go from there. As long
Okay, so we'll talk about that after we finish public comment, so thank you. Is there any more public comment? I'm going to close public comment. Closed, okay. To the council, I personally would like to make a recommendation that if the property owner gives written permission till up to midnight on weekends, and weekends would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if that were, that we could allow that. Who wants to weigh in on that?
Well, I agree. I would agree with you. I would just like a little clarity, because we have to have public hearing on that. We're going to have 2 times. If we making these changes, is this going to affect that? Does it still count as a second hearing?
No, this is all within the scope of what the ordinance was last time. We're making slight variations to it.
Okay.
That's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
I'm amenable, other than, I think you mentioned music, so if there was something in combination, that may cause an issue if it bothered neighbors.
Right, live music stops at 10, we know that, and we're not changing that, so. Larry?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. We've talked about some changes. Is there anybody who would like to weigh in on the changes that we've talked about? Public comment? All right, to the council, I'm looking for a motion and a second.
I would like to move the ordinance as presented by staff with the recommendations we put forward.
With the recommendation of what?
The private property
Private property.
bill hours.
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth,
No,
but Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah, Friday, Saturday.
till midnight with, okay.
I would like to second that motion.
Okay, and council, is it okay? We're okay with this one?
Yes.
Suetha and Dusty, you're both okay with this one? All right, to the clerk.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
Stransky.
Yes.
Albanese.
Aye.
Almond.
Aye. Could someone please ask Bruce to come back in? Councilman Burton, thank you. All right, thank you very much. If you were here for the food truck ordinance, you won't hurt our feelings if you leave now, okay? We all have lives. And congratulations and thank you to Suetha and Dusty for finally getting this ball over the goal line. It's been a long time coming. Thank you very much. Let's have food trucks in Willits.
Thank you, Mayor. You did a wonderful job as well.
Well, thanks.
Wow, we did all those ad hoc meetings. We led the community. We did a lot of the stuff, and this is stuff the community wanted. And just wanted to say thank you to the mayor for leading that effort.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, discussion and possible action to approve adoption of proposed ordinance amending the city water service ordinance at Title 14 of the Willits Municipal Code, Chapter 14.08, revising the definition of an, quote, applicant, unquote, for water service, and the definition of an, quote, under, unquote, of property. Presenting staff member is our city attorney, Jim Lance.
This is the second reading of this proposed amendment to the water ordinance to change those definitions of applicant and owner so that it is clear that only an owner of property can apply for water service to his or her property, or someone acting with the permission and knowledge of the owner or the owner's legal representative.
I move.
Okay, we have a motion here.
I'll second.
We have a second. Public comment. So what this changes is if somebody wants to apply for water service at their residence or where they're living, they either have to be the owner of that property or have permission from the owner of the property to be representing themselves as the property responsible person, and they're requesting. Yes. Any public comment on this? Hurry. Yes, come on up.
I haven't been here to hear all this.
That's okay. We're glad you're here.
I just had a clarifying question about, are you allowing more meters for those that don't already have a meter? Is that what you're talking about?
This ordinance is not changing that.
Thank you.
No,
Okay,
not
I
at all.
want to make sure.
Could we get your name though before you go?
Sorry, Amy Grooms, Amy Huddle Grooms.
Any more public comment? Going once, going twice, public comments closed. To the council. We have a motion and a second. To the clerk.
You did. Councilmember Burton.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Stransky.
Yes.
Albanese.
Aye.
Almond.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right. Item number 4C, discussion and request for adoption of an ordinance of the City of Willits adopting the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code Part 9 with amendments, as well as the 2025 edition of the California Wildland Urban Interface Code Part 7, regulating and governing the safeguarding of life and property from fire and explosion, and for providing for the issuance of permits, repealing all other ordinances and parts of ordinances of the Little Lake Fire Protection District in conflict wherein. We have a presenter. Come on up.
I still make a motion.
Oh, go ahead, make a motion. All right.
I did.
We make a motion to approve it. You're up. The podium. Thanks. Thanks for being here. All the way from Ukiah.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So this is our second reading of this ordinance. Again, the goal here is so that the city of Willits is operating off of the same guides and standards and ordinance as the fire district. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has, but other than that, that's what we're trying to do this evening.
I do have a question.
Shoot.
So the city of Fort Bragg last night made some changes in theirs because of the fire sprinklers situation. Were you there at that meeting?
I was not.
Are you aware of that situation?
I am loosely aware of it, but nothing with details.
So one of our conversations last month when you presented is we want to make sure this isn't putting new guidelines or cost on people who want to build in the city.
Correct.
And to that you say?
It is the exact same as it's been for 20 years. We are not, what the cost to build a house yesterday will be the same cost to build a house tomorrow. The changes that are within this document are the same changes that the Little Lake Fire District has had for 20 plus years.
Okay.
We're not changing anything on that.
Thank you. All right. To the council. Questions?
I would like to second Bruce's motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you for coming up here. Is there any public comment on this? Would you like to comment on the updating of the fire code for Little Lake? Going once, going twice. Public comment is closed. To the clerk.
Councilmember Burton.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Stransky.
Yes.
Allen.
Aye. All right, we have a consent calendar, and the consent calendar is basically, unless a council person pulls it from a consent calendar, we're just going to approve it all at one time. And let me explain to you what we're going to discuss and possibly pull if there's a reason to. We have the city council minutes for a special meeting on November 12th, regular meeting on November 12th. Adopt a resolution designating city officials authorized to apply for disaster assistance with our city clerk being the presenter. We have an adoption of resolution authorizing specific city staff to transfer funds between the local agency investment fund and Savings Bank of Mendocino. Presenting staff member is our city clerk, Dolores Peterson. We have an adoption of resolution changing the authorized signatures for the city of Willits checking account, payroll account, and safe deposit box at Savings Bank of Mendocino. Presenting staff member is our city clerk, Dolores Peterson, and a consideration of a request by Redwood Waste Solutions, Inc. to apply for a consumer price increase of 1.31% to all services accounts within the city of Willits. Presenting member is Dolores Peterson, city clerk. So let's talk about the two things of the adoption resolution authorizing specific staff to transfer funds and adoption of resolution changing the authorized signatures. We have a new interim city manager. Bob Richardson is here, and so what this is doing is it's allowing us to put his signature on what?
Unless I misread it, his name's not on there.
His name is on to sign checks. He did not want to be on the one for the lake. So we had to make changes to that to add another person instead of Mr. Richardson.
And who's that other person?
It is on the resolution.
Well, it's Dusty, Walter, Dolores, and
I believe Manny.
Okay. All right, to the council, is there anybody who would like to pull any consent calendar items?
Well, yeah, I'd like to pull those because I'd at least like to follow up.
Okay, let's talk about what those means. Are we going to, the council name?
C and
D?
C and D.
Okay, C and D is a David. Okay. Any council member would like to pull something else?
Well, I want to know, maybe from our attorney, if I abstain from number E, then is that sufficient, or do I need to?
Why are you abstaining for?
My daughter works for Redwood Waste Solutions. And so I feel like that would not be appropriate.
All right, so you could abstain from that one alone.
Yeah.
Right? So that could be handled separately without your participation.
Okay. Any other council member wants to pull?
Well, that means we have to pull it so you can not be a part of it, correct?
No, just abstain
we'll just do it in
on
two
that one.
motions. Check. Let's check. Anybody, council member, have any questions? All right, is there any public comment on the consent calendar? Going once, going twice. Hearing none, public comment is closed. All right, so I need a motion to adopt A and B right now, or to
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent calendar sub A and sub B.
All right.
I will make a second to that.
All right, we have a motion and a second for A and B. To the clerk.
Councilmember Burton.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Stransky.
Yes.
Allen.
Aye.
Almond.
Aye. I need a motion to approve E as in Edward.
I move.
Seconded.
All right, to the clerk. Public comment, or no public comment, we've already asked for that, okay? But if you stand up, I'll let you talk. All right, to the clerk. Wait, okay, come on up. That was quick. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Basima Sizemore, and I recently bought a house in town. And I want to know what is the 1.31% increase for?
So we have a contractual agreement with the garbage company, and so each year they remind us, it's based on what the consumer price index and based on the San Francisco, and so this is all, the paper trail is clear. This is in the contract. That's what it's
Okay,
for.
so this is a regular standard?
Once a year, not regular, but once a year, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, thank you very much. Any other public comment? Hearing none, public comments closed. To the clerk.
Councilmember Burton.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Abstain. Yes.
Stransky. Alaniz.
Aye.
Almond.
Aye. All right, so let's talk about C, the adoption of resolution authorizing specific city staff to transfer funds between the local agency investment fund. If you hear us, we use the word LAIF, L-A-I-F, that's the local agency investment fund, and the Savings Bank of Mendocino, and Dolores, you're our presenter.
Well, these, like you said, are just to update the signatures. We've done this. This is now the third time this year to make these updates. We do need to have multiple signers for our bank account. People go on vacation or not here, so we need to make sure we have backup for that. And if there's ever a transfer that needs to be done, we always have to have 2 people go to approve the transfer. And that's basically the purpose for this.
So to remind us of C as in Charles, who are the LAIF signatories?
Signatories for LAIF are Manny Orozco, our finance director, Walter Colon for services and facilities, Dusty Dooley, and myself.
Okay,
And then the signatories for the checking account.
we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
All right, so C as in Charles. Any public comment on this? All right, is there a motion?
Well,
I mean, I was the one that brought it up, and it certainly seemed to me to be appropriate to have this new city manager be on that list, and so.
Quite frankly, I would be happy to. I can still maintain operational control internally with that. I was just really looking at not having to, I'm a short timer here as well.
6 months.
6 months. But I was just looking more at not having to redo each time.
We can do it.
Okay, all right.
All right, so you're on?
I'll be happy.
Okay, so the motion would be to accept this, but to add the interim city manager. Okay?
I'll second that.
Does that mean we kick somebody out?
No, we can have as many as one.
Right, because you only have so many signatures, right? So if we're going to add Mr. Richardson, then one of those other will
Take
have
one
to
of
be
those other
removed.
ones to be removed.
Okay. Can we know
Staff
who that is before we vote?
Staff can figure that out.
Shouldn't we know who that is before we vote?
Micromanaging, you know.
Okay, well, I just hate to vote yes or no.
This is for the
LAIF.
The LAIF one. I would probably remove Walter because he is more out and about, and all of us are here, and if we ever need to do that, it's easier to.
We work side by side.
Equally valid.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So now, is that okay with the?
Sure.
Okay, so is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
And no public comment? Okay, to the clerk?
Councilmember Burton.
Aye.
Who did the motion? I'm so sorry.
Burton.
Bruce, who seconded?
Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're moving fast,
Councilmember Burton? Gonzalez?
Still an aye.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Alaniz?
Aye.
Almond.
Aye. All right, so looking at D as in David, adoption of a resolution changing the authorized signatures for the city of Willits checking account, payroll account, and safe deposit box savings bank of Mendocino. Are you okay on this one?
Absolutely.
All right, so who wants to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
That we add him and it's the others. Is there a second?
Yes,
I'll
second.
second it.
Is it public comment? Well, once going twice, public comments closed. To the clerk.
Councilmember Burton?
Aye.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Alaniz?
Aye.
Almond.
Aye. All right, we are done with the consent calendar, and we are moving on to monthly activity reports. The activity payable, these do not require action by the council. These are information only. They're in the agenda. Does anybody have any questions regarding the accounts, the building permits, or the business licenses?
I have a couple of questions on the warrants.
Okay.
Manny or whoever. The first one is 41,628 to Petrucia. It's for $96. Not a lot of money, but just curious what that was for. Well, let's see, I stayed on the warrants here, so it's pretty early in the warrants.
It's on page 4. Advanced Security Systems.
Advanced, I'm sorry. I think that's the new company that's taking over for Advanced.
Is that
for security?
With a change in name?
Yeah, it's a change in name. Advanced Security, who we've been using, is changing, they got bought out. I think that's the new company.
So is that, they're watching our alarms?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's for one, we have multiple accounts for alarm systems and cameras and stuff.
Okay, thank you. And then just 632, it's not too far away from that. Jennifer Lynn Procacci.
That's for the murals. The art, there was a grant through.
Yeah, okay.
That's for one of the murals
Good.
over at Rec Grove.
And then 41,633, there's,
Anthony Ramazzotti.
yes, for $11,092 for the general fund.
Oh, is that the swimming pool, Tony?
Maintenance supplies.
Maintenance supplies, oh, yeah, could be.
That's probably the pool supplies.
Pool supplies.
Pool supplies. Yeah.
There was an agreement between the city and the school district to share half the costs.
This is stuff from when the city took over operations of the pool this summer. It's for all the pool supplies and maintenance that we had to do.
And these values represent half of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, 41,674.
Civic Plus, that is our online platform. They do our website.
Civic Plus out the contract against the general fund for $716.
Yeah.
Is that an annual cost? We don't pay that per month, do we?
I don't think we pay that per month. I think that's some sort of
That's
like,
an annual, and I believe that is, it's part of the website piece.
Our website really needs to be updated. We're paying for this, and it's, what do we do to get it updated? Who's responsible
We
for
need to
that?
update on it. You need to let me know what needs to be updated.
All right,
And
then
I'm not the only one that.
I will come down, do you have the password to update it?
I do.
Okay, all right.
It's the Facebook page I do not have access to.
Okay, got it. All right, any more questions regarding any of the reports?
That covers me, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on permit or license? Okay, to the public, we have any questions regarding our warrants, our checks, our permits, or our business license? Going once, going twice. Public comment is closed. There's no action on this. We're moving on to the City Council. Meets concurrently as the City of Willits Planning Commission and the City of Willits Successor Agency. That's information only. And we're going to the City Manager report. We'd like to welcome our new interim City Manager, Bob Richardson. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. As a brand-new employee, there's not a whole lot of interesting things for me to report at this point in time. I'm getting a chance to meet all staff, starting to understand the flow of work here, how things operate. I will be heavily involved with the future of the city and how we're going to tackle some of the challenges ahead. And so far, the folks I've met here have been delightful. I very much appreciate the time and the care you just take to sit down and talk. And I will gladly have taken as much of that as I can in the future. With that, no more report.
Thank you. And without being rosy, we're not going to be rosy. Seriously, when the new city manager talked about the challenges that we face, the city of Willits is $2.1 million in the red. And we don't print our own money. We're $2.1 million in the hole. And so the challenges that we face in 2026 are going to be how do we deal with this deficit and keep the city government running and keep government services going. That's what we're faced with. It's not a fun time to be on the city council, I assure you. All right, so moving on to number 9 on your agenda, probably most everybody's here for. 9A is an item, discussion of the right-of-way abandonment request, number RA 23.01 for the unimproved alley between West Oak Street and State Highway 20 in the city of Willits, presenting staff member Dusty Dooley, Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Dusty Dooley, your Community Development Director. Yes, tonight what we have in front of you is an alley abandonment request by applicant Mr. William Harris and Nick Casagrande. And they're requesting the city vacate an alley, remove the public right-of-way easement, and allow the underlying land to revert to the abutting property owners to the center line of the alley. We've got a location. I'm on to twist this around, so a little more even with everybody. We have a location map here showing the location of the alley in question. The alley is located between Oak Street and Highway 20. We have 2 rows of residential property as well as earth treasures, and the alley is located at the rear yard. The alley was actually created all the way back in 1902 as part of the Oak Park Addition subdivision. It currently borders 22 parcels. The alley's 14 feet wide and approximately 690 feet long. I want to point out that there was an error in the report that noted it was about 180 feet long. That is incorrect. Based on the reading of the parcel map, it's approximately 690 feet long. And the request does include the abandonment of the entire alley. The alley is currently maintained by the city. I wanted to note that there was a gate installed at the eastern end of the alley by the city. This was, my understanding, this was based on the neighborhood request. There were some trespassing issues that were occurring within the alleyway, and a gate was put up to try to alleviate that issue. And then it's important to note that there are no public utilities, city or otherwise, located within the alley. Just a couple photos. You can see the gate that the city installed, and this is shortly after the city went in there and mowed the alley. I don't believe it's ever been paved, so you do have the vegetation that grows up, and then our city staff tries to get out there once or twice a year to mow it down. It does appear that the alley does get narrow with some brush as you get towards the middle or western end of the alley there. So as part of the application process, all property owners abutting the alley were provided a notification of the hearing and an opportunity to note their support or objection to the request. What this slide is noting is that we received 10, I see Bruce counting there, does that up to the 22?
Well, there's 10 on one side.
Yeah. 10 folks noted they currently did not want to support the abandonment of the alley. We have 6 folks that did support the request, and then when this slide was created, 6 folks who had not weighed in either way. So there are procedures that we follow when considering right-of-way abandonments, including this alley. The first, and let me just back up for a second. Note this item is before you as a discussion item only. So there is no requesting any action by resolution of the council tonight. Certainly, we're hoping to get direction on whether or not the council would like to see staff initiate this process. But it starts by creating and adopt a resolution of intention and providing the required notice to abutting owners and utilities. We would then have a public hearing, take in comment, and then that resolution would need to note certain findings were made, both those findings required by the state as well as the findings noted in our own city ordinance. We would reserve any needed utility easements, which in this case there wouldn't be any as far as we know currently. And then if approved, we would adopt and record the resolution of vacation to formally abandon the alley. And that's at the point where not ownership because we just have an easement, but the easement would go away and the center line of the alley would revert to the abutting property owners.
So who physically owns that property right now? Go ahead.
So if you look at so essentially it's a little bit silent on that. When you look at the deeds for the properties, it describes the lots as identified in the parcel map. But the alleyway itself was not deeded over to the city. So
who pays property taxes on that chunk of land?
It acts like a city street. So it's not owned by anybody.
Okay, and is it true that, and I was told once that alleyway was made in 1902 or
1902, right.
For the purpose of collecting garbage?
Well, you heard that from me, and it was just a guess.
I appreciate your honesty.
Guess, right? Yeah. So my understanding is back in 1902, I wasn't around.
You were young.
Yeah.
Nobody in this room was.
But it wasn't uncommon for these types of alleys to serve as the garbage collection service.
Okay.
So that's my best guess.
Okay.
Can't confirm though. So getting back to your question, essentially, although it's not described on the deeds, and then I'm going to let Jim take a better shot at explaining this than maybe I am, but the property owners own up to the center line of the alley, but there's a public easement that resides over a 14-foot section there. So if the city abandoned the easement, the ownership would revert back to the center line of the alley.
Would that increase your property taxes?
No.
Okay.
We did, good question. We did request that confirmation from the county assessor's office, and we did get a written confirmation that should the city choose to abandon the alley, it would not affect property taxes.
Okay. All right.
That's a good point. Thank you for asking that. So this, should the council direct staff to move forward with the abandonment procedures, what you have here are the 5 findings in our city code that have to be met in order to support an abandonment. And so I want to call out that the first one is the abandonment is within the city's jurisdiction and is determined to be unnecessary for present or prospective public use. So it becomes important tonight to hear from some of the neighbors on how the alley is used or its lack of use. What you're also going to hear tonight, and I think what maybe led to the request initially, is the issue of people trespassing and camping in the alley and some of the fire danger that it presents. But you're also going to hear from folks that have made note that they make use of the alley for a variety of reasons. So as you're listening to that tonight, felt it was important to keep these findings in mind. And then further, state code also prescribes required findings that have to be made when a city goes about the process of abandoning a right-of-way. This is found in California Streets and Highway Codes. And it requires that the city determine that the vacation of the alley is consistent with the city general plan and that the alley is unnecessary for present or prospective public use. And of course, there's some nuances in all of this language. But
so with B as in boy there, unnecessary for present or prospective public use, do you know the last time that alley had been used for public use?
I don't, and I've heard differing stories, and that's why this is in front of you as a discussion item tonight. And luckily, we have quite a few neighbors or property owners here tonight that can provide some testimony to that matter.
Okay, thank you.
That one further question: do the landowners that have this in their backyard, do they have access to the alleyway? To the city gate locked, or can they access their property through that alleyway now? Does all of them have an access?
Yeah, a good question, and I've heard a couple different historic recounts on how the gate occurred. Skipping all of that, currently, there is a lock on the gate, but the reality is it's a little bit of a dummy lock, and you're able to just push the gate open. From what I've been told, it appears that the neighbors that use the alley are aware of that, so therefore it is accessible to the neighbors. Of course, now that we've disclosed that in a public hearing.
On the video, yeah.
Luckily,
we'll see what the next step is. Yeah.
Luckily, not that many people pay attention to Willits City Council meetings.
Any more?
Yeah, so just to finish, again, what staff is certainly interested in hearing public comment tonight, especially from the property owners that abut the alley. But at the end of this, what staff is looking for is direction from council on whether or not we should proceed with initiating the alley vacation process, as I briefly outlined earlier.
Thank you. All right, so there's 22 parcels there. I'm going to ask the council, does anybody have a conflict on this? Anybody own property, rent property, make money on any of the property of where we're talking about?
Is this the 200-foot or the 500-foot rule?
Oh, 500-foot rule.
Oh.
If you own property within 500 feet of the property that's subject to the council's meeting, it's presumed you have a financial interest in the outcome.
That's probably going to be too close.
I think you're too close.
The sawmill not that far away. And has the city ever abandoned another alleyway in town?
Jerry's nodding his head.
Yeah, my street. Which I don't think.
Okay.
So, I do own property.
We'd like to thank and excuse Councilman Burton. Okay. All right, so to the public, or first to the council, is there anybody else who would like to talk right now?
I just have a quick question for Mr. Manager. So, even though we're not actually, no item in front of us is an actual item, we're still discussing it, that would still apply for anybody who has conflict of interest. Can he no longer participate in the conversation, or is it just not voting? I mean, we're not even in any conversation.
Yeah, Bruce, hold on one second.
This is to find out whether we're going to have a conversation.
Well, that's a good point. What the concern is a council person taking action, participating in a decision. So a decision is not going to be made tonight. There's going to be discussion. So that's correct. Bruce's participation in this discussion is not going to lead to some action being taken tonight.
Okay. So I guess it would be up to the councilman to decide then.
You get to decide. You're welcome to join us.
You want to leave, or I don't think there's a conflict of interest for you participating in the discussion since there's no action to be taken.
I'm not trying to get out of this. I'm happy to participate.
All right, okay. All right, any other council questions? All right, to the public, let me tell you how we're going to operate this. Everybody has opinions, and we want to hear your opinions. And when we start this, you're welcome to come up here to the podium and state your name, and you're going to have 3 minutes. Don't be offended if I cut you off, because you're going to have 3 minutes. And I want everybody who has an opinion, who wants to express their opinion, to express their opinion. All right? We're going to be ladies and gentlemen here. Who wants to start? Come on up. If you want to start, come on up, Sabrina.
Dusty, could you bring up the lot, the photo of the lot?
I can't read. Which one did you want?
Just the picture of the lot.
That one? Yeah.
You're on. Go.
Okay, thank you. I just have a technical question. I heard that the county is not going to increase property taxes if the city removes the easement. But yeah, I think it's worth allowing the property owners to look at the document if at all possible. The removal of the easement, I can see that they wouldn't charge the property owners an increase in property taxes, but I do know that there's something written within the property tax code because I've personally experienced it. And so I would be curious about what if that letter also states that once they assume the additional footage within there, not removal of the easement, but they assume that as part of the property, if that will trigger a change in the property taxes. So just looking for that specific language so that people feel fully informed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, come on up.
Do I start with my name? Yes. Okay. My name is Diana Van Winkle, and I live on Oak Street.
On West Oak.
West Oak Street, thank you. Backing up to the alley. I, for one, want to keep the alleyway there, if for no other reason than safety, because if my house catches fire, that's my only way out. It's the only way to get away from my house. It's through the backyard and the alleyway.
Okay.
So for that reason, I want to keep it.
All right. There you are. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to comment? Really important. If you came here to talk about this, now's the time to talk about it.
We're juggling.
Come on up. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. My name is Omaya Sizemore, owner of Earth Treasures, a business that has proudly served Willits for 33 years. In that time, we have grown from a small local shop to a destination recognized by local residents and beyond. We are proud to contribute to this community, economically and culturally, as part of what makes Willits unique. For several years, we have considered expanding our building and commercial storage space so we can continue to grow and meet customer demand. Sometimes that continues to give us something that continues to give us a pause is the city-owned alley that runs along our property line. When this alley was created decades ago, its purpose was to serve emergency use, that's what I was told. This appears to no longer be the case today. Modern emergency vehicles would have a great difficulty using the alley due to the current size and layout. Over the last 5 years, I have personally monitored its use. It sees activity maybe once or twice a year by 1 or 2 individuals at most. In that time, we have noticed the gate lock cutting off access for all the residents. The Willits Maintenance Department couldn't get back there to cut the grass because there was a lock on the gate. On several occasions, we had to call the Willits Police Department and the Willits Maintenance Department to come and cut the lock off so we can get access to the alley. If the alley no longer meets the purpose it was built for, why should surrounding property owners continue to lose usable land to it? There's also a question of liability. If someone is injured in the alley, or if a fire starts and damages nearby buildings, who's responsible? The city, the landowner? The answer is unclear, and that concerns me deeply. By returning the alley to the adjoining property owners, liability becomes clear and simple. The city would no longer carry responsibility for injuries, access, or maintenance. And the landowners can reclaim the unrealized assets that they already paid property taxes for, so we paid the property taxes. Relinquishing the alley is also a financial benefit for Willits. Property values will increase as landowners can utilize the space, which increases long-term property tax revenue. Businesses like ours can expand, bring in more customers, more inventory, and more sales tax. City maintenance costs will be eliminated. This issue has come up many times over many years. I've been in here several times speaking about this issue. We now have the opportunity to make a decision that supports business growth, encourages housing, increases revenue, and strengthens our community. This is not only a request for one business, it is an opportunity for Willits to grow forward. I respectfully ask the council to consider relinquishing the alley back to the adjacent property owners so we can use our land to its fullest potential and continue building a strong future for our town. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to make a presentation to the board, the council? Go on up.
through it?
And I did just use the mouse.
Okay, I hope I can do that in 3 minutes and talk, but I'll try.
You haven't started yet, so that's good.
That's what there we go. That's what he wanted. Okay. This really quick shows how the gate can be easily pushed open.
Okay.
I'm Amy Huddle Grooms. I've lived on Oak Street for the last 19 years. We own the property. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. We have used the alley to access our backyard for parking and home maintenance. I'm sure many of you have noticed that there's not a lot of parking on West Oak Street. The only access to our backyard is through the alley. We have just a small walkway beside our house. This has come up several times over the last few years, and each time we've gathered petitions. The majority of the adjoining property owners have wanted to keep the alley open and accessible. For the last several years, living here, we have had problems with transients, so the city found a solution and put up the fence. That didn't really stop the transients or the camping. They would just push the gate open and hide behind the gate and leave the trash. So then someone put a lock on the gate, which has deterred them. The dummy lock has worked. One topic that keeps coming up is a fire danger. The question I have for the council is what makes more sense, keeping an alley accessible to mowing all of it, or having some fences moved, and then some that wouldn't be, those fences, or having some fences moved and some not with inaccessible patches of overgrowth vegetation, tinder, right? Not all property owners can afford to move their fences or may want to. Another topic that keeps coming up is that the city can't afford to maintain the alley. As long as we've lived there, the alley has been mowed maybe once or twice a year. This is a quick task for a tractor with a mower, and the city surely can afford twice a year of mowing. We have maintained the alley from our house to we live on the eastern side of it, and we've maintained our house out to the entrance. As you can see, what has been mowed in the picture that Dusty showed, that is where we keep it mowed because we access our backyard a lot. So I wanted to show a few pictures. The alley is not only important because of, I can't even figure this out because I don't even know how to do it. I wanted to show you pictures of behind our house. The business property that is directly behind our house is very overgrown with vegetation against the fence. So we also, this is very important to us as a buffer zone. It keeps the fire danger down for us. And we can't imagine sharing a fence with someone that doesn't keep their brush down, like over here. It's complete with brush and hasn't been maintained for years. This is the area that we use. You turn. Okay, here we go. Thank you. As you can see, track marks that were done just in the last week, and that was not from us. This is down the alley. This has not been mowed since the spring of this year, which we had a lot of rain. I can't do this. Okay, this is the property exactly behind our house and the other side of their property. This is from behind our house, exactly behind our house. And this is our gate that accesses our backyard. We open the gate, we park in the backyard. My son goes to college, he comes home, he trains out vehicles, puts the commuter car away, and uses his truck. It's very important to us, and I hope that I've made this clear that it's that this has been an issue for a long time, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. All right, who else wants to talk?
Can I say one more thing?
No, after we're all done, maybe. Nope, sorry. I feel bad to even say no, but hold on a second here. Anybody else? Nick? Yep. Okay.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Willits, and thank you for the opportunity. We're discussing an abandoned and dead-end alley. That's exactly what we're talking about. There's a covenant of quiet enjoyment, two key principles of real estate: full enjoyment and safety. Fire safety. The city comes twice a year for alley maintenance. The University of California Department of Agriculture states that weeds grow between 17 inches and 30 inches between mid-February and early June in and around the city of Willits. Cal Fire guidelines are no more, their guidelines are more stringent, and they say no more than a maximum height of 4 inches for weeds. Therefore, during February through June, the city of Willits should be weed whacking minimum 7 times during this period and to be in compliance. So economics. 2 times a year, approximately $1,000 of expenses for the city. Another 6 to 8 times would be an additional $3,000 to $4,000 to be in CAL FIRE compliance. As stated, the covenant of quiet enjoyment is at severe risk. This alley is the only City of Willits easement with a gate. The alley is often locked and not with the city lock. This locked alley defeats the intended purpose of the alley. At some point in the past, the city allowed for part of the alley to be severed and has been handed to the property owner, as this parcel of the alley is now a drive-through. In doing so, this makes a fire truck unable to make a 90-degree turn into the alley. In the event of a disaster, no first responder would or should enter into a death trap. In the event when additional fire trucks are needed to come rescue Willits, no fire truck from CAL FIRE can save this part of town, as the new trucks are taller and wider. A letter from the county states there's no change to the property taxes. This reinforces covenant of quiet enjoyment, as property is to be returned to the rightful owner for full percentage of property. Pictures. We have taken pictures in 2022, 2023, and 2024. I have submitted them. There's no path to show there's actual use. There's no track marks to show routine trucks being driven on the path. Pickup trucks weigh about 4,000 pounds to start with. So there's no evidence of trampled routine usage on the grass, and there's no indentation in the soil. This is not an emergency exit. It is not a fire lane. It is not a thoroughfare. It is not a basin for flood control, but an abandoned, dead-end alley. There are no utilities, as the sign-offs have all been prepared. As far as fire, there is a fire hydrant on West Oak. There's no fire hydrant inside that alley. The threat of home insurance being canceled is a true and is a reality to all of us here. If the insurance decides to cancel anyone's home, they'll be forced to go onto the California FAIR Plan, which is completely underfunded.
Are you almost close?
Is that?
Are you almost close to finishing?
Yeah, one last one.
Okay.
Fires displace 100,000 of residents annually, and when housing is already at a shortage, and a disaster will worsen the situation.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would like to comment, please? Sir, come on up. Thank you for being here.
My name is Mark Walker. I live at 55 West Oak. So, my alleyway, I maintain it. I go out there and mow it, keep it clean. And just, what was it? Week and a half ago, we had a person, looks like a tree service come down and trim a dead tree or something at the end of the alleyway. Now, that tree would probably be a hazard for us ever to catch fire. It's a good thing they took it out. But they had access in the alley to get to it, because from the looks of the property, I think the house is overbuilt. So you don't really have much access on the sides. There's 2 or 3 houses on that alleyway that are consumed a lot widthwise. So that means the only access they have to the backside of their property is through that alley. So if the city was to abandon that and also people start cutting it up, that would restrict the value of their property. You no longer have access to that. They'd tear the house down and build a new one, just to have access to the backyard. So we've got to take this into serious thought, because you start messing with somebody's livelihood when you start doing that. Now, when these houses were probably built, there was no discussion about no alleyway. So when whoever approves to build the permit and put the house in, the city didn't say, hey, look, one day we might get rid of the alleyway. You better think about what you're doing there. So if you're not well informed on what you're doing, and the city has control over it somehow, then it would revert back to the city for not giving me a heads up, don't overbuild my lot. So as far as maintaining the alley, to ease the burden on the city, I see they just built a nice new CCC complex out there by the hospital. And I know they do a lot of that kind of work. Like stream restoration, also a lot of, So I'm sure you can talk to them and work out a deal. Hey, bring the kids down, let them do an afternoon on the alleyway, get it all looking good and walk away. So there is avenues to make it happen. And if that can't happen, then I would say that some of the property owners that really want to keep the alleyway need to start maintaining it and step it up and make it accessible. Take the burden and the responsibility of doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walker. Is there anybody else who would like to discuss this topic? Hold on one second here. Go ahead. I was wondering why you were here.
My name is Josh Potter. I live 35 West Oak. My only thing I want to say is that it's not a he or she thing, it's a we thing. The whole group that lives there have become dependent upon that alley. I have seen like the tree services, I've seen people get wood delivered that can't get it any other way because there is no accessibility through the sides of the house. To take a tractor back there, we have to go through. To do any yard stuff, if we need a tractor, we have to maintain it or we have to access it from the backside. And a lot of people don't have the money. It's also a buffer zone for dogs that some people don't have. You know, if we're right next to each other, the dog thing, businesses don't have to deal with that, but the people that actually live there are hearing that all night, okay? And we have that buffer zone between the neighbors here and the neighbors here. And it's something that makes it quiet, something that helps with sleeping. My house, my backyard, I have 10 feet from the fence. My kids are there, and right now my other neighbors, their houses are far away, but when their dogs come, our dogs are barking at each other all night. And I can't imagine having here and there. So I just want that to be considered that it's a we thing, that we all use it, the majority should speak. And that's all I want to say.
Thanks, Josh. Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Going once, going twice. Come on up, sir. And I assure you, I want you to know that this is a first stage if we decide to continue on. We're not going to vote tonight to make a decision one way or the other. This is going through a planning process, right, Dusty? That what the purpose of tonight is to just start the conversation.
Correct. We're looking to get testimony from the neighbors and provide information to council to inform you on how you want to direct staff to proceed.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
My name is Jesse Groom. I live at 29 West Border of the Alley. That's a picture of my gate. We, like my wife said earlier, we use the alley regularly for parking, but I just wanted to address what was said a little bit ago about getting a fire truck back there. I had a 30-foot long granite Peterbilt service truck. I'm sure you guys have seen them running around. Had that in the alley. I mean, it's accessible. And the fire engines, the big engines aren't the only trucks that the fire department has. They have pickups with water tanks. They have smaller vehicles that can get back there just like we do every day. So that's what I wanted to address.
All right. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Had a Maya raise her hand.
Yep. Do you want to follow up?
Are we in round 2 now?
Well, you're going to keep it short. Just cover the points you've already covered, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. My name's Amaya Sizemore, and I'm one of Earth Treasures. First of all, I've been there since 2005, and initially we had lots of problems with I found needles in the alleyway. People were doing, I guess, drugs back there. So if a fire was to occur, when the transients come, they basically come just for the first few parcels. And by the way, I think it says 22 parcels, there's 23. I own 2. Somehow you guys combined them. My parcels is 1. So I've had fires that I had to put out, And as far as the gate lock, I had no idea that, nobody told me, and nobody told the rest of the residents, that you could push the gate open. I recently had a resident come to me. They thought that I had the key, the lock to the gate. And this is the same individual that had the fire, that had the tree cutters come. And she ended up going down. I told her, I don't know. So she walked a few doors down and found the person that has the lock to the key. And as far as recent tracks, those were just made by the tree cutters.
Tree trimmers.
And I have a camera in the alley. I witness what goes on back there. And the owners, the claim that they keep the grass down, they just mowed on Saturday. I've been taking pictures over the years, for the past 5 years, documenting, and I'm more than happy to share photos with you. I took pictures in the spring, in summer, in fall, and winter for 5 years. And you could tell that behind their gate, they hardly use it. So anyway, I just want to let you know that. And as far as, I'm going to ask each of you, are you willing to give up 7 feet by 100 feet?
But we're not going to answer that right now. We'll talk about that.
For an alley that's abandoned.
Right, okay.
And also, it's a dead-end alley. And also, I think if somebody wants to do an ADU in the back, so to expand on their property, that's more money for the landowner and for the city. So thank you very much.
And Dusty, when is this going to be on the agenda again? So we can make sure if people leave now, they know that when we're going to have it again.
I mean, potentially on the next agenda in
January.
January.
Meeting in January?
Yeah, or potentially well, okay, let me back up, because I always want to make things happen faster than really they should. So there's a pretty stringent public noticing process.
Okay.
And I think given that process, we would not be able to get it on the next agenda in January. So we're likely looking at either the second meeting in January or the first meeting in February.
So I don't want people to leave here without a date. We either have January 28th or February 11th.
But let me back up, because as a planner, we always like to say depends. So it depends. If the direction from council after this is to bring back the matter and support further discussion, that can happen at the first meeting in January. If the direction from council is to start the alley abandonment procedures as staff outlined in the presentation, then we would need to follow the public noticing requirements, and I would need to refresh the requirements, because there's actually state code on this as well as our own code, and I would need to follow that chain, recognizing the Willits Weekly doesn't print always in the holiday weeks. So there's a few factors that I don't know and I couldn't answer off the top of my head.
So don't leave yet if you're here for this topic. So who else wants to talk? Who else come on up, sir. Thank you for being here.
My name is Jose Luis Rodriguez, and I'm living in 93 West Oak Street. I have over 25 years living there. And I just want to say something about the alley. All the time is very, very, very dusty, garbage everywhere. The big branches, all the sides of the wall and the fences. If the people wants to keep the alley, they are supposed to clean the sides of the houses. And all the times it's dirty and a lot of garbage.
So do you support, how do you feel on this issue?
I support to move the fences, everybody, to take care of everybody from their own property.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would like to comment?
I just want to, Amy Grooms again. We do have one neighbor here that might not want to speak, but did turn in the form. And on the form, it states what she uses the property for. And so I hope that you got a packet that has all of that. So read the comments that are on there, because there's people that aren't willing to speak tonight that have reasons what they use the alley for.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. We got it. Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Going once, going twice. Public comment is closed to the council.
Question for Dusty. I'm going to presume you're still doing research on this. I mean, I get the impression that there's the different uses that people have. I mean, I think when I read your agenda summary there, it sounded like there were still questions out there on your end. Or do you have all your answers you need and you were just needing public comment?
Well, I think I think we have a good understanding of what the process is, what the findings that need to be made, and obviously it's important to get testimony from the community tonight, because ultimately, if the council directs us to move forward with abandoning the alley, we need to provide evidence to make the findings, both the state findings as well as our own. So I'm taking very good notes to follow whatever direction that council may have. And I think, probably going to be working very closely, continuing to work very closely with our city attorney and understanding, making sure that we provide the legal support that for any decision that council makes. But
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, there's not a lot of research that needs to be done. I mean, what would need to be done next is working through the findings.
Okay. All right, to the council, any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go.
Question, comment, concern, query. If we return the land to the homeowner property, some of them have already expressed the desire to move their fences, and that is their right to do so, because that would be their land. But it doesn't sound like everybody would. So I think the biggest concern that people have brought up is, concern with homelessness and trash. But I don't really see that being solved if only 4 people move their fences and everybody else doesn't move their fences. You're still going to have people walking back there that shouldn't be there. We would have to take down the fence because it's not city property anymore, so that's even going to be more inviting. And there'll be a lot more little nooks and crannies behind everybody's fences because some people moved their fence, some people didn't. This guy moved and this person didn't. So I think all the positions that have been presented here have been fairly argued for, and it's a question. It's tough to decide which one is right, but I don't know before we even have to decide which direction we're going to go into. I don't know what's being proposed that actually solve the issue that they want to be solved, because there's still going to be trash. There's still going to be people walking back and forth there. In fact, there'll be even less concern. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if that means I need more information or whether I would like to hear back from some of those people at another time if we do decide to continue that. I just would like to clarify, though, that if a decision is made to continue on with the process, it is not an indication that somehow we're leaning towards one direction or another. I just feel like at some point we may need more information on here because it's going to be all over. Yes,
wouldn't you agree, though, that if 2 neighbors that were back to back both built their fence to the center line, it would essentially be a block?
It would. And it may potentially create an island.
As long as everybody is like checkerboard and you only do the black checkers,
right?
You have access. But if 2 neighbors back to back do it, or if you put a fence up at the end, the city fences that off with a permanent fence, then at least in terms of ingress or egress for vagrant kind of activity, you would have that creates a block.
It would. And my only concern in that case would be that it may in fact create an island, because again, if 2 people in the middle met, that would stop people from egressing the entire thing, but then there'd still be like a 3-house block where there's just open land because those houses chose not to. And again, we'd still have the same issue. People would sneak back there, you still have fires, you still do all those things. So I just would like more information about, from homeowners in that area, how that, but point well taken.
I mean, I get both sides. Yeah. I think there's going to be a little bit of reluctance here on the council to I mean, if this isn't, the only way we can give direction is show a preference.
Right.
So, but we're not supposed to be making any decisions, so how you can give directions if you can't show a preference?
Well, I have a couple questions. So there's going to be government time involved here, because let's say hypothetically that the council said, yes, let's do this. Let's abandon the alleyway and allow the property owners to enlarge their property size. So now there's going to be government time. I don't know if it's surveying or putting property stakes there. I don't want the city of Willits to be on the hook for a bunch of time if we make a decision thinking that we're saving money and it's going to end up costing us money. How do you look at that?
So, correct, there would be a decent amount of staff time involved in carrying forward the process and recording the removal of the easement. As far as the survey specific question, it's not clear to me at this point that a survey would be required, recognizing that the property owners currently own to the center line of the alley, and what we're doing is removing the easement itself. If a survey was required, the expectation would be that we would put that condition on the applicant who is requesting the alley abandonment, and they would incur the cost of the surveyor, and that work would need to be done to the satisfaction of the city, though. Again, not certain that a survey would be required, though.
But we wouldn't have to hire a consultant and have someone come in here and say, this 33 feet here and 34 foot here and so forth.
I do not believe so.
Okay. Because we can't afford it. That's the bottom line. So. All right, to the council, any questions more? What's the desire?
Regarding the question of whether we should continue on and give direction to staff, whether we should continue. Yes, I don't think we definitely don't have enough information this time to move forward. I definitely think since it's split, we're not going to pick one side or the other. The community is split. I'm not really comfortable making a decision about how people should live their lives. We've heard from people that it's their lives, but they invest in these homes for decades. So I lean against giving staff further direction at this time, but if we agree to move on, then I'm happy to participate and look further into it, but at this time I'm leaning against it.
You're leaning against?
Advising staff to continue.
Oh, okay. Who else wants to weigh in?
I guess I kind of agree with Councilman Alanis, other than it'd be different if the very folks at the very end both agreed and at least we chopped it. That'd be easy peasy, but that's not what's being proposed. It looks like what it's going to be is what Bruce has said. It's going to end up being some folks choose to close it off, some folks don't, and in the middle you're going to end up with a bunch of brush growing. And if I'll be honest with you, you're going to be more mad if we say go ahead, but don't do it, and some of you are going to end up with a bunch of horrible brush. I got to tell you, I live on a street that was abandoned, and I wasn't a part of it. I didn't even own the property before we bought, but the neighbors are still split as far as how it happened and what's happened there, and there's still issues there.
Yes, there are.
So, I get hit up all the time about could we reconsider? I said, not at this point. What's done is done there. So that was a mess where I'm living now, and I suspect that it would be a mess even more so than what you guys think you have now there. So that's just my thought.
All right, Bruce?
Yeah, I've got a couple. First, I think it's a fairly low priority issue in the city to be taking time on it seems to be giving it more than I think we can afford to do right now. The other is that I've always kind of believed when you buy property, you buy it in the condition that it is, and you made your agreement to buy that property based on its physical layout, its zoning, and if you've determined that you only are going to be happy with this property after 6 years is if you can change what you bought to something else or had access to or changes, then I think that could be considered somewhat of an unreasonable expectation.
I didn't hear exactly what you want to do on this one.
So, well, my overall deal is that, I've got a couple years here. My deal is to try and fix the budget woes of the city.
Right.
And do a couple other projects that I think are critical. I'm not sure that I want to spend multiple meetings personally in the next 18 months determining whether we abandon an alley or not.
Larry, you want to weigh in?
I'm going to listen to what they have to say and make my vote.
And I
kind of go with Alanis.
Okay, I honestly believe that, and you get ready to throw spears at me, everybody, okay? I think abandoning the alley would save the city money. I think that, with all due respect to people who say they wouldn't have access to their backyard, not everybody has access to their backyard. And there could be a way where we could work it out with neighbors to where there still could be gated access all the way from east to west. But I'm of the mindset of the least amount of government land we have, the better for the city. I don't want the government to own all the land. And if this alley isn't being used for anything, and it really and truly, this alley is only being used for the luxury of some people whose houses back up to it. That's it. But the whole city is paying for the maintenance of that. And I would like to have this for a conversation again. Just a minute, you spoke twice. I'm mayor, I get to speak my mind, okay? And I think that this is an opportunity for the city to consider granting this property to the people who are currently paying property taxes on their property, and they're going to be able to enlarge their backyard or build an ADU as Senate Bill 9 allows it to happen, because you could build an ADU in the back, and the law enforcement isn't going to have to worry, and fire department aren't going to have to worry about patrolling it. But everybody else got to speak their mind. I'm speaking my mind, and that's exactly what a democracy's all for. So to the council, I'm just one vote. To the council, Dusty's looking towards us to see where we want to go. Do we want to continue this conversation, or do we want to end the conversation and move on?
Well, my interpretation is that he got feedback from 5 council members, and he should do with it what he sees fit.
That he can bring it back to the council?
Or not.
Or not.
It depends.
Yeah. Well, welcome to it, Bob. Yep. That's fine. I understand. So I'll just say what I came to understand. I think I relatively clearly heard from 4 council members that to not bring the matter back for discussion.
That's not what Councilman...
Okay, I wasn't sure on one. So
okay.
3, the majority of council members that to not bring this matter back for further discussion at this time for a number of reasons. Mayor, you did a great job of clearly articulating your position, which was to bring this matter back for further discussion. Councilmember Stransky was open to hearing more information as well. So I guess looking at the city attorney, Does the direction of the mayor trump the majority of council, or do I go with?
Well, the mayor generally has the authority to place items on the agenda.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And so utilizing that power, okay, I'm going to say that the first meeting in January is we're going to continue this discussion. And what I would encourage you and your department to do is get as many residents or property owners on West Oak there. Because in the petition that was in the packet today, I know there were several signatures on there of people who are not property owners. And this is a democracy. Everybody can weigh in on it. You know, you don't even have to be a City of Willits residents. However, I certainly would like to know where the property owners stand on this. So would that put an undue burden on your department to send out letters stating that on this date, we're going to have a discussion again?
Mr. Mayor, maybe could I suggest that in light of what Dusty said about the newspaper, that maybe a February date might be fair?
Okay.
Well, let me.
We're just having a discussion, so we won't need public comment.
Yeah, let me just provide clarification. So for this meeting, we provided, again, this is a discussion, so this was not, legally necessary, but obviously the sensible and correct thing to do. We provided a notice in the Willits Weekly. We provided a notice directly to all property owners within 500 feet of the alley. So I likely would be presenting the same level. So I don't know that I would garner any additional neighbors to come speak tonight. I would probably put that on, the neighborhood themselves to reach out to neighbors.
So let's do that on February 11th, okay?
That's why we're here.
Well, we're going to have it again. So welcome back on February 11th. You're welcome to come back, but your conversation and your position is it's already been heard, and it's not going to be forgotten. Absolutely, it's not going to be forgotten. So February 11th, this conversation is going to happen.
Mayor, thank you for the direction, and just for clarification, staff will be bringing the matter back for further discussion.
Thank you. Okay.
And not for a formal action of a resolution.
No action. Yes.
Thank you.
Do you think it's really necessary for the city to notify people outside the perimeter of the project?
Well, whatever the law says.
Well, it's all really relates to this criteria that vacation is authorized if the property is no longer necessary for a public purpose. And the abutting property owners, they have a private easement interest, but they also have, and the general public has a public right of access. And really the key criteria is this alleyway a necessary part of the city's roadway system? Is it something that is necessary, or is it no longer necessary? And in answering that question, you have to determine whether or not, how it affects the public generally, and not just a few homeowners. And so homeowners who enjoy having this alley because it provides backyard access to their property, occasional maintenance work on the backyards of their property, that's not a public purpose. A public purpose is whether this alleyway serves the general public or no longer does.
So question, let's hypothetically say we abandoned it and we said, we're done with this. But certain neighbors have what they feel is an easement. Does that mean that if we washed our hands of it, walked away, took our gate off and said, but does that mean that once we abandon it, because of some perceived easement or maybe legal easement they may have, that other folks couldn't build on there? Or
prescriptive right away.
No. The owner of a property that abuts a street or alley has what's considered to be a private easement to their property. They also have a public easement, as the general public does, the right to use any public street or sidewalk or highway. If the city council finds that the criteria have been met, the findings have been met to establish vacation of the alleyway, then the property is no longer subject to the city's alleyway, and the duty to maintain the property falls upon the abutting owners. And there's no need for a conveyance. The city doesn't own fee title to the land. And so the city has nothing to convey, but by operation of law, if the council passes a resolution of vacation and the resolution gets recorded, it has the effect of eliminating that public easement interest. And there's a presumption in law also that if your property abuts a street, it is presumed, absent evidence to the contrary, that your land goes to the center of the street. So there's a presumption already. There's no indication that we can find in the county records that the city has an interest in the land or that the developer back in 1902 retained an interest in the land. So there's a presumption in law that presently the properties of the abutting owners go to the center line, but it is subject to a city easement that can be vacated. And so the duty to maintain the backyards will no longer be on the city. The city would not have to expend money to patrol it or mow it or whatever. That duty falls upon the owners if the city can establish all of those criteria.
I guess my question would be that all that taking into account, does that mean then that folks could move their fences, or folks couldn't move their fences because certain folks have had that prescriptive easement for years?
No, the folks could move their fences. Folks could move their fences to the center line.
And they're prescriptive, they wouldn't have a prescriptive right to force their neighbor to the east to give them access.
The street and highway code specifically says that if the alleyway or the prescriptive, if the easement is vacated, then any rights for, any private easement rights are extinguished.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second, okay? So I didn't know this, and so I hope you understood. And listen, if there's a group of people who want to get an attorney to disregard or to dispute us, you're welcome to. But what our attorney just said is, we're not going to decide if the alleyway should be given to the property owners. We're going to decide if the city is actually using that piece of property
for a public purpose.
For a public purpose, and if it's not, then do we have a choice after that?
Well, yeah, your findings are, this is a legislative act.
Right.
If you decide this is a legislative act, if you've determined that these findings have been met, that's not going to be challenged in the absence of fraud or collusion. That stands.
Okay.
But it is not an automatic thing. It's still council's decision about whether to agree to that. We just have the legal authority.
You have to make the findings. The findings have to be supported by the record.
Okay.
And here's another point. The ordinance that the city adopted 2 years ago, the prior city manager engaged a consultant to prepare this application process and draft the ordinance of vacation. 2 years, they did that in 2021. 2023, the ordinance was passed. And that ordinance requires 5 different findings. It says it shall be based upon Street and Highway Code 8324, which is the existing law on this topic that allows the city council to vacate a street. But the city manager wanted a process for applicants, for the general public to apply to the council for an abandonment. So this ordinance was created, and there are 5 different criterias, but there are only 2 criterias under the state code. And so some of these criteria may be challenging to meet.
Okay. Okay. So democracy in action right here. We're going to discuss it on February 11th. I did have 2 people raise their hand to ask questions during this. And by the power vested in me, if you want to ask a question, please come to the podium and ask your question.
Sorry, Amy Grooms again. Is the council aware that the California Conservation Corps used to maintain the alley, and they would come and bring their crew, and it would weed eat it in 20 minutes time, and they did that two to three times a year, and then that closed. So that's it.
Thank you. What other question? And you were the one that had your hand right up, right?
My name is Celeste Potter, and I just want to ask, does she have pictures that we're allowed to see of this garbage and these fires that are in the alley?
Well, you can ask us. We're not going to ask her, but okay.
Okay. I didn't know if we had a legal right or not.
All right. Any other questions?
Just want to say right here, Mike, I like Bruce's.
You got to go. No, come to the podium, and you'll get one, because you've already been up twice. You get 1 minute.
Okay.
And then Josh, you're up.
Yeah, the microphone is for the people at home.
Yeah, it's not for us, it's for the video. Yes.
First of all, since I'm the last one on the alley, and if I put a fence there, and if the neighbor behind me puts a fence there, move our lines, that closes the alley, period. Or like Bruce Burton suggested, the city just put a gate. But if you don't have any responsibility, we would be more than happy to put a fence right there to block. And it's up to each neighbor if they want to take care of their brush or not. I mean, this happens in brook trails, this happens in houses in town. Some people clear their brush and some people don't. So why is that the responsibility of the rest of the residents?
Okay, thank you. Josh, you're up.
Yeah.
And then you're going to, is there anybody else other than you? Anybody else? So after you, I'm going to, oh, I know. Okay, so you're going to be the last. You're going to follow Josh. Go.
I just want to know if you do abandon it, who picks the middle ground? Do we go out with tape measures and, I mean, are the neighbors?
That's where the staff time comes in. That was my question of, we'll figure that one out.
Okay, that's what my concern was.
Okay, you're the last. You're the cleanup batter.
But I think Dusty answered that, I think, by saying you will have to get your own survey. If you go out and say this is the middle and your neighbor, the city isn't going to be the arbiter of that dispute.
So it would cost the people,
it would
not just to move the fence, but
you might have to basically get a surveyor.
You might have to have it surveyed. Isn't that what you said, Dusty?
Yeah, the property owners could choose to have a surveyor if they want to have that definitive point and avoid that potential civil issue.
But the city wouldn't be drawing that line.
Correct.
No, the city could make a condition that we're going to vacate this on the condition that the applicant engage a surveyor to establish the middle line.
You're up.
Okay. Hi, Basima Sizemore. Thanks for letting me come up again. I had a question in terms of process and next steps. I'm hearing that from the city attorney that basically council needs to decide or understand if it's under the city's jurisdiction to do something with the alley. Is that correct?
That's not the way I understood it. The council will decide if it's of public use and if the history has shown that it's of public use.
Okay.
Is that correct? Right. Okay.
And will that be presented in February?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
If there's any evidence that it has been, I honestly haven't heard of any public use for it, but maybe somebody can come up with a historical public use for it.
Okay, and so then the public can come and share testimony in addition to that?
Right? And then I would imagine after that, we'll decide whether we're going to put it on for action or not. And the action would be, according to what the city attorney said, is the city going to say we have not used it for public works or we have used it for public works?
I'm just wondering if that decision makes the decision of how the alley's used or not.
Oh, I don't know the answer of that.
Okay.
That's a fair question. I don't know.
Okay.
All right, so this...
Can talk, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to separate again. I just feel like, maybe you could please clarify. I just feel like conversation confuses the two issues here. Our decision as a council to decide whether we're going to go forward or not is based on whether we can go forward or not, and it sounds like we definitely can. If we find these findings to be relevant, that it's not a public use, we do that, we can take action on that. But the decision that we really need to make first is, do we even want to do that? that seems to make a whole separate discussion.
No, we should make that after the February 11th.
No, I agree. We can, and that's why maybe further discussion is new, but I just don't want to give people the impression that like, all we're going to do is to find out whether it's legal and then we're going to pass it no matter what. There's a decision that's separate from that. So, we may find in fact that we have the legal right to do so and we should exercise that right and that people will have the chance to make those arguments. But whether we want to do that or not is still a different decision, and we're going to have to decide that, which is why we want people to come back. So.
You have my word, this will not be on the agenda between now and February 11th. We're not going to talk about it without you being here. Unless you don't want to be here, that's fine. Well, you're being notified right now. I can't guarantee you'll get a letter in the mail, but I'm telling you February 11th, it'll be on the agenda. All right, so you will not hurt, we're going to continue on with our meeting. You will not hurt our feelings if you want to leave. Good night.
I would just tell anybody that's interested in wanting to do any research on this, take a lot of time, but it's fun in a strange sort of way to go to the museum and pull up the old Willits Newses from 1902 to 1925. I'll bet you they argued over this 100 years ago.
And 100 years
And it was
now,
in
probably.
the newspaper.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We are going to have the discussion of potential collaboration between the City of Willits and the County of Mendocino to relocate donated sculptures to a public location with the city, within the city Highway 20 Park. Dusty Dooley is our Community Development Director, and he's a presenter.
Thank you, Mayor. So food trucks, alley abandonments. It just, the life of a planner is so fun. You never get bored. To all those people out there thinking about being a planner for your, we have Karen Matson with us tonight. She's the County Museum Director, amazing woman. She contacted me a couple months ago and let me know about a potential opportunity to relocate 7 sculptures that were donated, put under the care of the county and the museum. They're currently located as you're driving up the grade southbound. They're on the right side of the road there. There's a picture.
Mr. Walker's?
Yes, so this is, Mr. Walker, who I understand is a relatively famous local folk artist. So staff, the matter before council is we've been approached about potentially relocating these sculptures to the Highway 20 Park, which apparently some community members are now calling the Sculpture Park due to the pinwheels being located there. I'll mention that park has been a difficult space to activate. It's basically a leftover strip of now grass that my understanding is it was became the ownership of the city and was abandoned by Caltrans as part of the Highway 20 project. Right. You might have noticed in that old 1902 subdivision map that it was still showing Flower Street running through that location. We've been able to place one sculpture there. One of the big issues of activating that space, besides it's rather being a narrow parcel, is there's no available public parking really to access that site. So potentially it may be a good location to house Mr. Walker's sculptures. Staff has gone and visited the sculptures about a month ago with Karen. They do need some TLC. The county is talking about bringing them back to their former glory before relocating them, should the council want to support that idea. Certainly the transportation will be somewhat of an undertaking. Again, the city's looking at the county or other donations to support that effort as well. Should they be located in the park, we have talked to the Public Works crew about this too, as well as the building division. We would most likely be looking to place them on a new concrete pad. And again, the city staff has been very clear that likely any support from the council would be conditioned on the fact that we wouldn't have any money in the game, so to speak. Having said that, we would also, at some point, should we move forward with this idea, we would need to talk about whether the city was wanting to take over ownership or sort of long-term lease of the sculptures. I imagine if the county was paying the bill, they'd want to have some assurances that the city would support their location there for a decent amount of time, whatever that time frame is. And then there's the question of maintenance agreement as well. Would we be willing to take on maintenance costs either initially or after some amount of time? But what we're looking for from the council tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Karen here momentarily, but looking for direction regarding the city's interest in pursuing a loan or transfer agreement and maintenance partnership and locating these sculptures within Highway 20 Park.
Okay, there's a whole lot of questions, how long are they going to last, what's their life expectancy, and who's going to take care of them when they start deteriorating. But they're very important to our community because he was very important to our community. And I agree with you that this is something that we should go in with our eyes wide open of no cost to the city. So I'm not sure where we go on this. I mean, ask us to take it, but we're saying yes, but as long as it doesn't cost any money, we'd still be on the hook once we took them.
Yeah, you can go up to the mic there.
Oh. So quiet now. I cleared the room. All right, well, first of all, I want to thank you. I'm Karen Matson. I am museum administrator. And I appreciated your this time on your agenda tonight. So the sculptures that we're talking about are, as Dusty said, off of Highway 20 as you're leaving Willits. And if you don't mind, I'd like to give you just a couple minutes of their significance and a little bit about Mark Walker so you know what we're talking about. And then I'll wrap up and address some of your questions. So the sculptures were donated and accepted by the county in 1988, along with the parcel of land and a small endowment to continue the care and maintenance of the sculptures. The donation was made by Mark Walker himself. And at this time, the museum staff believe it's time to relocate the sculptures to a site where they can be easier to access and maintain, and also so they can be better appreciated by the community. They're very hard to see where they are right now. So Mark Walker, folk artist Mark Walker, as we refer to him at the museum, he was born in DeHaven in 1892 and lived to be 107. So here's a little bit of history for you. He spent his entire life in Mendocino County, except when serving as a soldier in World War I. The later part of his life was spent at his property south of Willits, where the sculptures are currently located. Gay LeBaron shared in the Press Democrat in 1988 that his work's history sounds like an economic history of the Mendocino coast. This could not be more accurate. Mark Walker remembers as a boy working at Westport Wharf, helping to load railroad ties and lumber on the steamers and operating an overhead pulley system which carried lumber out to the ships. He attended elementary school at Elder Creek, what might be recognized now as the Nature Conservancy in Branscombe. And he recalls his childhood as having a fishing rod in one hand and a rifle in the other. Mark Walker attended Willits High School on Pine Street for about a year, while helping his dad with carpentry and working as a night operator and bill collector for the telephone company in the Hotel Willits. Mark quit school to work full-time as a carpenter, and he became a jack of all trades, performing house painting, plumbing, and electrical work. He worked at tie camps, tan bark camps, helped with road work and shingle and shake manufacturing. His last employment was as a custodian at Willits Redwood Products. Knowing Social Security was looming, he thought he better spend the last 10 years of his career somewhere where they had a bookkeeper. Later, Mark observed that early settlers developed creative solutions and methods for many things, including utilizing resources available at hand. In his later years, he began creating folk art that reflected his family's history and early life in Mendocino County. It became his mission to share traditional woodworking methods, history, and heritage of the county for the generations to come. Mark became a constant collaborator with the museum, donating countless hours of time demonstrating tan bark harvesting methods, mule packing, fiddle making, split and lathe shake production, and of course, folk art creation. One of his larger creations is the ox cart, which is one of the sculptures that we're discussing. The passengers in the cart, a man standing nearby with his pack mule, and guide dog. He added an eagle and a nest and a smaller mule later on. Mark received statewide recognition as both a local historian and a folk artist, having his work shown at the Oakland Museum and helped to secure a prestigious folk art grant through the Mendocino County Museum. So our museum is committed to preserving these sculptures, and we are committed to moving the sculptures. So the reason I'm here tonight is because I've seen the addition of the pinwheels, and we were approached by a member of that committee who shared the idea that perhaps the sculptures could go there.
So you just said moving and preserving.
So and that's what we are looking into, and next week I have an item going before the board to see if we can access funds that have been allocated. We still have the endowment that Mark started, and we have another endowment, and the sculptures are our responsibility. But there is the question that they were a gift from Mark to the greater community, and if there's an option, we would like to place them at a location that's going to do the most good. You know, they're going to be the most appreciated. So I know that you have that project kind of in the works in that space to activate. There are 7 sculptures. There's plenty to go around. We don't have to put them all there. We could put some at the museum, and it seems like we're kind of creating an opportunity for people to think of Willits as a place where they can view public art, which is a symbol that we care for our community. Public art does that. It also slows down traffic. So not trying to convince you, but I just kind of want to paint the picture of why a collaboration is likely worthy of your consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the museum director?
You know, maybe not so much a question as much as just a concern that I kind of feel like, and again, they're not as appreciated where they're at, but having lived in town my whole life and been a cop, that I kind of feel like they're kind of safe where they're at now because no one's messing with them. They're not appreciated, but it's a little hard to get to messing with them. I almost kind of feel like we'd move them right where they're accessible to where they can be messed with. That's a concern. I mean, unless they get moved and there's some sort of fence or something around them to keep folks, because sometimes in the summer folks hang out at that grass strip, and some of them don't exactly look like art appreciators.
What a polite way to say transients. So would it be an MOU with the county?
So what I would be asking for tonight is to get an indication of whether you're interested in this, and then we would bring back, I'd work with the city and our county, and bring back what it would look like, whether you'd be interested in a transfer or a long-term loan, and of course paired with that would be some sort of maintenance agreement, whether that would be us, that we would continue maintaining it, or if there's an advantage to having the city do that. They are our responsibility right now, and we are going to do those things anyway. If there's an advantage to collaborate and it's going to be a benefit to the city, maybe you would like to step in and do more, maybe not. But right now, I am responsible for planning a destination for these sculptures, and it would be a great time to know where they're going as we're planning that.
I can tell you that my thoughts would be not to give them to us, but to have an MOU to put them somewhere. If there's an issue, we could call the county and say it's causing an issue.
Okay.
But he was a very important part of our community, and I'd love for people to appreciate him. But as the councilman said, there's a lot of, in the summertime, sometimes the only thing that moves people from sleeping there are the sprinklers that come on. And it's a transient homeless area for one reason or another.
I wish we had a better history of collaboration with the county here in Willits. They have I mean, I think the county museum is in itself is a perfect example. It's the county museum, but the county over the last, to my understanding, has done its best to sever its financial ties and turn over a lot of the expectation of staffing and operations of that to the volunteers in this community. Some of the same issues with the county library, the county yard, the sheriff's substation. In my opinion, the county hasn't, isn't supported in concept, but there's the
practice. In
practice, anything that's not within the Ukiah Valley is a second cousin at the end of the day. So I'd like to feel that I'm more confident that a partnership with the county would come out to everybody's satisfaction. But, just a word of caution from my perspective.
Well, I appreciate you starting with saying the museum's a good example, because I found the museum to be a good example of a good partnership also. I'm not saying the library is, and I'm not saying the substation is, I'm saying that the museum is a good example of partnership with the city, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it is I'm just going off of what I've been reading the last few years, is that the county's, the budget for the museum from the county has been a very difficult thing to keep funded. And that the county has been backing off of its role and responsibility for all of the county donations that have been made to that facility, and I don't, in my point of view, from what I've been hearing, they haven't lived up to that responsibility.
No. Okay.
May I?
Other council member? Oh, go ahead.
May I
Absolutely.
comment?
Sure.
I just want to share, as somebody who's been working at the museum for nearly 8 years, I feel like some of the steps that have been taken in the last couple of years have been very positive. We've done extensive research on museums and how they operate, and our museum is one of the very, very few that relies solely on the general fund. And the changes that we've recently made are credited to the Friends of the Mendocino County Museum, who are a financial support. Most museums have a financial support. It's very common, and it's a very positive step for our museum. And I see a lot of collaboration for looking to the future, changing our leadership, and trying to really figure out how to make the museum sustainable rather than, just wishing it was. So I think we're taking a lot of action towards that. And also, as a fairly younger person in the community, I'd like to have some confidence that we can make the change and be the county and have the relationships that we'd like to have. So I know that's optimistic, but maybe we need a little bit of that.
All accolades go to the Friends. I'm not criticizing that effort. I'm critical that it needed to have that effort.
Yes.
Any other council? Not yet, no public opinion yet. So what I'm going to say, because this is a non-action item, I think. Yeah. It's a non-action item. Well, it could be an action item because it's that we can continue the conversation to see what it could happen, how it could happen without cost to the city.
What are they constructed of? Are they plastic?
Concrete.
Concrete?
Yeah. They are not solid. It is like almost more like a patina around found objects, wood, and wire.
Yeah. So it is kind of a...
Yeah.
In support of the sculpture park, I frequent the businesses over there, the gas station and the Hollows Market under Hollows Taqueria all the time. But I just wanted to say that that's a great place because people do walk their dogs. Like they park there, they get gas, and they're going on the way 20. They all get off right there in the little green area to walk their dogs. And there was a little public space for sculptures, that might just add to the flavor that people are already there. And people wonder or watching it, not hundreds, not dozens, but, just enough to gather interest. And now that we have that Starbucks across the street, with a little effort, we can turn that into a real active space.
I'm not sure the market would be all that tickled to be the official parking place for the city park.
I just want to say, I think I agree with you, Tom. In theory, I am very scared that a treasure like that might get messed with, but I think if we go into it with our eyes wide open, it would be a nice spot for them to be seen.
Thank you for considering. Okay. Anything, Roy? Or any more from the council? All right, to the public opinion, public comment, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second, Helen. She got her hand up first.
Sorry, Helen. Tamara Alanis. I was concerned because of the construction, what they're made out of, and the sprinklers and the exposure there. Obviously, you guys are going to think about that. Brook Trails Township Community Services District is currently in the process of moving into a new building. We have an extremely engaged employee who has been diligently and thoughtfully going through a lot of the historical information, both regarding the logging history and the Diamond D Guest Ranch and the Sherwood Railroad Spur and the historical development of the area. And we are compiling what we're calling a Brook Trails exhibit in the sizable lobby of our new office across the street. And we would love to see what different sculptures and size are there that potentially could maybe be incorporated into our new exhibit in Brook Trails.
Very good. Good.
Thank you.
All right. Helen.
Creek.
Helen Sims. Are there any other locations that you have considered other than that strip? Because I worry about the lack of parking, and is it really as accessible as a public exhibit would want to be? Have you looked at the museum or the rodeo park or anything? Just what are those other locations you've looked at? Did you want me to respond?
Yeah. So of course the museum is.
Good. No, I'm sorry. Since you use the microphone so the folks at home can hear you. Thank you.
So we are not without a location for the sculptures. This seemed like an opportunity where it could broaden the benefit from the sculptures. Is that the main question?
All right.
Is there another your question?
All right. Any other public comment? You're next, sir. Love John, and you can go next.
John Haschak, 3rd District Supervisor. So when I talked to Karen about this issue, that it seems like, and we've talked about it for probably a year or two now, part of the problem with the sculptures where they are is that they're kind of overgrown. They're in this part, with all the work that Caltrans has been doing in that area lately. They're just not appreciated, and they need to be moved. And so there is that funding that we have for it. It's coming to the board on Tuesday to utilize that funding for such purpose. And, I was thinking it was going to go to the museum where, it could be an attraction to the people going down Commercial Street. But Karen made the point that, with the cart and the guy pointing, it's really signifying, the importance of transportation movement in the West. And I think that when you think about Highway 20 at that corner lot, that's what people are doing. They're moving, they're coming through this area, and it kind of connects with the people traveling through too. So, obviously there's concern about homeless people or whoever, messing with those art treasures. But Karen was thinking that they might be better off there than at the museum because there's more eyes on it and everything. So anyway, I hope you can come up with some solution to to utilizing these to their best effect, because does represent who we are as a community and a county.
Agreed.
Well, I'd like to find out more, but I also would like to maybe suggest school would be great contact. I know it may not be a public thing that people can do, but you got the young people interested in art. We have a fabulous FFA program, and it might be just a thing where they're both protected and so.
Mr. Walker, are you related?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
When he said his name was Mark Walker, I said,
I was wondering.
Yeah, no.
How are you related?
By rumor.
He's my grandpa's first cousin. Cliff Walker. So this is just, that's the first I've heard of it. So from my understanding was the statutes were presented to the museum or the county?
The county.
Okay, the county, along with the property and all that. So if we're going to be moving the statues, what's happening to the property? Is it being sold? Is this motivation to move them?
that's way out of, I mean, you two can talk.
That's just conversation.
I get it, but not for this. You two can talk.
I'm addressing, this.
Okay.
This is my question, it's kind of hearing it, moving them, because my idea, if we're gonna move them, stay them down here, where Roost Motive is, right there where they get their circle, run the Christmas train, soccer field's right there, plenty of parking, have a spot, talk to them, whatever, plenty of viewing, got the, I don't know, the county built that train barn? They have there on the end? Yeah.
Okay.
So there we go.
Skip Money built that train barn.
Right, so there we go, we can just put everything together and call it a festival.
Thank you.
But I'll be very concerned about if we're trying to move the sculptures, to utilize vacating the properties, selling off or whatever, once it's donated, it's yours, you do what you want with it, right?
I'm sure that conversation could be had sometime.
No,
That's
I'm just
not
saying,
part of it. Okay, I get it. And thank you for sticking around for this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this? Hearing none, to the council. Is February 11th too soon to have a discussion on this, on a possible agreement or something?
No, not at all. There's probably some more information that I'd still like to work with Karen and others to flesh out, including ensuring what the total cost for touching up the sculptures, for the concrete pad, for transportation. And I would say, Mayor, once we have some more solid information to share with you, we would bring that back, whether it's at the February meeting or sooner, or maybe a little bit later. So
let's shoot for February 11th.
Very good.
Something changes.
Very good.
Okay. All right, that topic's over. Department reports, airport, community development, finance, police department, services and facilities, and utilities. Who wants to report? Walter?
Airport, we're working right now, Burco Road with CAL FIRE and working with their land use department to get a land use agreement. And that'll probably be sometime, they'll give us some documents that they have and stuff from previous land use access agreements.
Thank you, John.
And that'll be later in January, so we'll be bringing that up probably in the February meeting and stuff.
Okay.
Chief? Does that still have a landowner that's denying access?
This is why this road is going through, because we're bypassing that. Yes, this is to alleviate that problem of the landowner.
Okay.
Yes.
Chief, I'm sorry, any more, Walter? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Nothing to report except what's in there.
I got it. How do we have the exact number of 911 calls this year in November that we had last year in November? That's amazing. That's amazing. Annie? Dusty, any more?
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, just a couple things to point out. You may recall that we were in front of council to talk about a prospective SHOP program whereby Caltrans would be going around and creating upgrades to the Highway 20 corridor. We identified a number of improvements that we wanted to explore as part of that project that was slated at the time to occur in 2033-34 as a construction project. Unfortunately, Caltrans informed staff that project's been delayed by at least 2 years, so that would push it out to at least 2035, 2036. The reason being due to current funding issues within the Caltrans division. So with one door shut, we opened another one. We partnered with MCOG and we submitted a grant through the Caltrans Sustainable grant program, and then we're going to be seeking funds to support paying staff to go through that exercise with the community to identify prospective improvements. So with that delay, hopefully we can get at some grant funds to support some work that we were otherwise charged with doing already. The other announcement or update to provide council is we had been exploring different ideas in anticipation of submitting to the 2025 CDBG NOFA. We anticipated the application window opening in January. That has been now pushed off to April. So we have not dropped the ball as far as pursuing opportunities to get funds to support things like we discussed earlier, the small business loan program, new roof and ADA upgrades for the Grange, and potentially some other ideas. So expect, based on that current timeline, expect staff to be back in front of council. We probably already got a lot going on in February, so let's say March, to get council approval to move forward with those grant applications. Thank you.
Dusty, do you know what the process that Caltrans went through? I wasn't paying any attention, but the roundabout at Simpson Lane in Fort Bragg, or the roundabouts that are in Lake County, do you know the process that those came into being?
I'm not familiar, no.
Yeah, because it seems like to me we just have a rough intersection there on Blosser that really would benefit all around by a roundabout right there. And the idea that it is 10 years away even from the planning process seems to be kind of almost negligent.
Yeah, so completely agree with you as far as the reasoning behind that being a solid location for a roundabout. To have it included as part of the SHOP program, that does put us on that timeline. But recognizing that it's an idea that's been identified and supported by the public and the council and is in some of our planning documents, we'll continue to explore opportunities to fund it outside of that avenue.
Can you tell me when the bid will go out for the gazebo?
So right now, the last direction we got from council on that matter was to freeze infrastructure projects, given the current financial situation. So.
But this is 100% reimbursable by the state, right?
Correct. It's part of the Clean California grant.
So can you and I talk to get this on the agenda soon?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if the money's reimbursable, we certainly would like to have it. Next year's a big year. It's our 100th anniversary for Frontier Days. There's a lot of things going on in Willits, and if we can get that gazebo going and we're getting paid for it, that'd be great.
Do we have a time frame with the funding? Do we have a deadline on it? Because that would determine when we have to go out to bid.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that we put a freeze on that project and others, we requested and were recently told that we've received an extension on that grant, and I would need to look that up, but we have a good amount of time at this point. But it sounds like we're going to be discussing maybe unfreezing that specific project. So we can bring that back for.
Council wants to say something here.
I want to make another report on something unrelated, if I can have an opportunity just to.
Does it have to do with this?
No.
Okay, all right.
Can I ask some questions then? Sure. Yeah, I was going to ask about the pavilion. You're talking about the gazebo.
Pavilion.
Okay, good. Okay, and then also I had a question on that little sculpture park over there. We're just calling that, not officially. You're trying to make it stick. Wasn't there supposed to be an entry sign that was going to match all the other signs around the parks?
That's right.
Over there? And
yeah.
Is that happening, or am I missing it? Or
again, kind of a similar story. So I think what you're referring to is the gateway sign.
Yeah.
There's the sort of like the welcome to Willits. I don't know that that's what the plan was. And then separately from that, Mr. Madrigal, Tony Madrigal, had brought up the idea of having a directional sign separate from this gateway sign that would note that downtown was to the left and that there was shopping businesses, and he had taken the lead on that idea. And so at one point in time, staff was working with Caltrans to establish both of those signs within Sculpture Park. Those projects have been put on hold due to the current budget situation. We did previously had $30,000 identified within the ARPA funding.
Great. And that's
gone.
Okay. Okay, great. I also was at IMCOG this last month, and I heard about your partnership with IMCOG to try to get some of this, what do they call that, WM4 or something like that, the grant money. And what I heard specifically was that you, sir, was thoughtful enough as a director and a citizen of Willits to make sure that in the grant that somehow that the work necessary to make that happen was going to help. Was going to be paid for partly through that grant. So the city would spend less money of our own money to make sure that this would happen. And I just wanted to compliment you on your forethought and your consideration in that, because these are plans that are going on 6 months away, a year from now. And if it gets approved in June of next year, that'd be great. But it's nice to know that there's people out there who are looking at our bottom line at every turn, because we're going to need to be able to pay for that. And we can't make these dreams happen unless we can apply for that right now. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. That's my comments. Thank you.
All right, anything more? Any questions regarding the director's report?
Yeah, I have my monthly question. What are the numbers?
Main account has 2.5 million in it, 2.527,439. Payroll that holds 317,824. Savings is at 35,129. CD investments is still at 5,318,616.
So they were 551 last time.
5 where?
I have down in LAIF 557 last.
LAIF is 557,908.
Okay, so that's the same. Okay. And
for a grand total of 8,756,000.
What's a U.S. Bank?
The U.S. Bank is CD investments, sorry.
Pardon me?
That's CD investments.
And how much is that?
5,318,616.
5.3?
Yeah, 5.3.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Any questions for the directors? Or any public comment for the directors? All right, good and well heard for the council. Anything, Bruce?
I'll pass this evening. I think
I'm sorry, Jim. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say quickly that a couple days ago, I got a letter from Dr. Ann Farr, trustee of the Willits Environmental Remediation Trust. She reports that the trust is scheduled to be before the court for a final order of termination of the trust and dissolution on or before December 31. Dr. Farr and her attorney will be in court on Friday to give a progress report to tell the court that they are ready for dissolution. They've wrapped up all obligations. Months ago, there were no further action letters issued by the Regional Water Board, and so there was some slight hiccup about a month ago. There was a sinkhole discovered on some city property that staff thought may be the responsibility of the trust. Staff had it investigated, determined that it was not a trust responsibility, and so on that basis, now they're ready for dissolution.
Okay, that's good news. Okay. All right.
Tree lighting ceremony on Saturday?
Saturday, yes. Anything?
Pass.
Pass?
Yes, of course. Number one, just had my MTA meeting today, and the main discussion about the Municipal Transit Authority is moving towards flat rates. So if you ever had to ride the bus, or if you know people who need to ride the bus long distances, all the way going into the border and all the way to the Bay Area, it could be a complicated, very math-heavy way of commuting, because there's different prices for different times, different people, different ages, different distances. And our plan is basically in the next year or two to maybe move forward towards a flat rate, which is something that Humboldt Transit Authority has already done, $2 for everywhere. So that way there's no issues, and there's no problems at all. We'll be able to give special discounts, and that's what they're working on the MTA. Number two, we did have the Hollows Market opening on December the 7th. It was fantastic, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do so. Number three, Willits High School is having Hot Winners Night, which is always a wonderful showcase for local talents. So if you have the time and you have the inclination, check out what the kids and the students are working hard to do on the 11th. fourth thing, yes, tree lighting is happening, but that is happening right after the truck parade, which takes place at 6 o'clock. So if you're so inclined, please dress warmly because it's going to be a beautiful parade. Additionally, the Willits Center of Arts is holding their 25th anniversary, which is a big deal because we celebrate arts here in this community, and the 25th anniversary is a big deal, and they have a lot to say and to share with you. So they're going to be that's going to be taking place on the 15th. Alrighty. Lastly, we also have decided in finance that we're not going to have a finance meeting this month. There's a lot of things changing up right now, and we're not going to be holding a finance meeting this month, and we're going to move that finance meeting to next month. So there will not be one next week as we normally do. And then finally, of course, I just wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, which also begins at sunset on the 14th. Lots of activities. Stay tuned.
All right, the only thing
radio voice.
Thank you.
The only thing I have reported is we had a meeting yesterday in here regarding the Frontier Days parking problems that happened last year, or this last year, 2025. And I think between the police department and the fire department, we have figured it out to where it's going to be much better signage, and we're not going to have people that get a $600 tow bill from West Commercial to the tow yard. We're working on that heavily, so.
Well, in the spirit of parking discussion, I would applaud the city for their efforts to ameliorate the parking issue for the Santa train this weekend. It was muchly appreciated. And if you guys got down there, I don't know, there had to be 500 kids that went through that day.
Anything else? This meeting's adjourned. Thank you for sticking around.